Hi, I'm Dr. Robin Koslowitz, clinical psychologist, parenting educator, and post-traumatic parent. Welcome to the Post-Traumatic Parenting Podcast, where we learn to provide our children with a healthy childhood, even if ours was anything but. Or maybe we had a wonderful childhood, but recent events in our lives have left us reeling. Let's face it, after 2020, we're all post-traumatic parents now. Welcome. Hey everybody, welcome to another really exciting episode of the Post-Traumatic Parenting Podcast. A lot of you have been asking for this episode. I am interviewing Fortesa Latifi, who is the author. Did I mangle that?
No.
All right. I was like, wait, I practiced. My name also, nobody can pronounce Koslowitz, who is the author of Like, Follow, Subscribe, which is all about momfluencers and kidfluencers, and I know a lot of members of the post-traumatic parenting community have a lot of opinions about this. I feel like there's a lot of convergence with people who are breaking cycles and changing their childhood and wanting to parent differently than the way they were parented, and your book. So that I think that's why this whole topic really resonates with post-traumatic parents. This seems to have been your beat for a long time. Like, you've been covering like sort of mom-fluencing, kid-fluencing, like I know for Teen Vogue, for a lot of different publications. What got you interested in this beat? Like you seem to be the voice.
Yeah, honestly, it was just like a few years ago. I feel like I couldn't scroll without seeing kid influencer and mom influencer content, and this was before I became a mother myself. And I just started thinking how strange it would be to grow up like that. Like, I think it used to be this very specific generation, or a subsect of a generation that grew up like that. Like, it was like the Gosling kids, the Duggar kids, the teen mom kids. And then all of a sudden with family vlogging and mom influencing, it was like thousands of kids that were having this experience. And so I just got curious about it and I couldn't let it go.
Wow. Yeah, it's true. The Duggars were kind of like, I'm thinking like of all of them, it was probably the Duggars that I consumed their content the most.
Yeah.
But it was almost like they were in a museum, you know what I mean? Like, they're an exhibit of a family and the TV crews are coming to their house. It's not just mom on her, iPhone.
Totally.
It's more formal.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's more boundaries in that way,
Yeah. I also feel like by virtue of the kind of family they were, it's not like the Duggars were then going to standard American public school the next day. They were going to, I think they were either homeschooled or going to like Bible school or whatever. But it's not like, you come to school the next day and someone's like, oh, I found your mom's old potty training video of you. It's like very different.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Did it like... it's interesting because in the book I was like listening, and as you're like writing about it, you almost are more balanced than some. A lot of us clutch our pearls, and I think for someone like me who comes from a background of cycle breaking parenting, I right away go to the exploitative nature of like, this has got to be a bad thing. But you had like a lot of balance of like, it's not always and entirely a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think it is always or entirely a bad thing. I'm not a person who thinks that if you put your kid online in monetized content, then you're automatically a bad parent. I think it can be exploitative, but we really have to have nuance in this conversation, because I think painting with a broad brush doesn't do anything to protect kids, because it's not showing their reality.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you were like researching this book, I guess you just got to go down an internet rabbit hole of like, yay, I'm doing work, so I get to read a lot of snark subreddits, and like I get to like whatever, which must have been somewhat fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was fascinating. I think obviously I've been really interested in this topic for a really long time, so getting to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go scroll on Reddit for 3 hours and that counts as work, like that was obviously kind of fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun. But like when you were doing research for the book, and I think you did what a lot of us do, which is like, if I'm fascinated by this, other people must be fascinated by this, so I'm going to write about it. and maybe I'm putting thoughts in your head, but I feel like that's how a lot of us like come to like the passion projects we have. Like, I must not be the only person who wants to know about this.
Yeah, totally. And I think every time I wrote a story about it and every time I made a video about it or made content about it, people would just be so fascinated. So I was like, oh, this is something. I have something here.
Yeah, totally. When you were doing all this research, what was like the most unhinged thing you saw? Like when you were watching a parenting influencer where you were like, I wish I had a magic wand and I could scrub that from the internet. Like, what was she thinking?
I think a lot of the videos that I saw that revolved around like medical emergencies were really difficult for me to take in, and just because of the content and how sensitive and vulnerable it was, and also because of how many views and likes and shares it had. I was really taken aback by that, and it made me incredibly uncomfortable. And I think, like you said, I really strove to have a lot of empathy for these parents in many ways. And I found that those were the instances in which my empathy kind of ran out, and in which I could say, I don't understand this at all. I don't understand making this kind of decision.
Like, why am I watching this? Almost.
Why am I watching this? Why was it recorded? Why is it on the internet? Why has it been viewed hundreds of thousands of times? And I think, I had to do several many gut checks while I was writing the book, because I was newly postpartum. And obviously you're like hormonal and,
right.
I was feeling those mama bear feelings for the first time. And I would send the videos to my editor or to my sisters or my agent. And I would say, am I overreacting to this, or is this insane? And they were like,
right.
No, this is, you're not right. Overreacting. This is not like a hormonal thing. This is insane that we're watching this. And so, I really, really had trouble with those moments when children were in distress, whether it was emotional or physical distress. That was something that I cannot understand as a parent, wanting to record that, especially as my daughter's gotten older. And she'll be sad about something, or, she falls down and she hurts herself, or, right. Whatever it is. And the last thing on my mind is recording it. And I've thought sometimes, and I can't bring myself to do the experiment. I won't do it, but I wonder what she would do if I were recording her when she was in distress and looking for comfort from me. Like, I think she would smack my phone out of my hand, and like she would rightfully
as she should.
Yeah. Right. But I can't bring myself to test it.
Yeah, I know. And I feel like it's almost the feeling you get when you watch the news and like there's a cameraman filming someone, I don't know, who's on fire. You know what I mean? And you're like, why are you holding this camera? Why are you not like grabbing a bucket and dousing that person?
Totally.
But it's your mom, right? Like I remember thinking that as a little kid, like watching the news and thinking like, wait. If I'm watching this, there's someone standing there with a camera. Why is that person not helping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I felt watching these videos, is like, why are you, like, put the phone down, like, help the child, put the phone down, and like, at least give them your attention. Like, it's not that I would watch videos where like, a kid is in a crisis that a parent could like maybe immediately solve, but it's like, they need your comfort and they need your attention. And obviously I'm only 2 years into this parenthood thing, but like, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah. No, and I feel like also, what is like, in that moment, you're looking for your parent to like, with no filters, with no thought of like the gaze of the internet, with no thought of anything, just thought of me. I want you to resonate with me and I resonate with you. Like, I'm thinking more of like maybe the Ruby Frankie story, right? Like, you're coming home from school, the first guy you like dumped you. You want to just go hug your mom. You just you want to just cry without worrying that the internet is gonna fetishize that or anything. React to it in any way. And I want her undivided attention. I don't want her camera. I don't want anything. I want my mommy, right? Like, I can't imagine what that does to a developing psyche.
I can't either. I wonder also what it does to the parent-child relationship. I mean, if my daughter were looking for comfort from me and instead she had me, you know, kind of comforting her, but also like holding a phone in front of my face and in front of her face. Like, I don't think it would be good for our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely had the thought when my kids did something egregious or funny or whatever, like if I was a momfluencer, that would go viral. You know what I mean? I've
Totally.
had that thought, but
Yeah.
it's a fleeting thought, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like my 4-year-old son thought it would. I'm not sure what the logic was, but that he was going to clean my kitchen floor with like a we got a case of cereal that was, you know, one of those like, you know, subscribe and save kind of things. And like
Yeah.
my husband like cannot pass up a good deal when it comes to things like that. So he
Yeah.
bought like a case of tricks, which I'm like, what are we even doing with this? He's like, yeah, but like the kids, like on the weekend, I'm like, we'll get sick of it, but okay, fine. My son
Yeah.
decided he was cleaning the kitchen floor with it. I'm not sure the logic, so he dumped out like boxes of tricks. He was literally unsupervised for like 5 whole minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
of course. Yeah.
yeah, it was like where was I? I think I was I was like, you know, terribly unforgivable using the bathroom. You know,
How dare
like
you.
moms of toddler
Yeah.
boys don't use bathrooms. But like I was like literally I was gone for so short. And
Yeah.
like just like boxes of tricks. Look, Ma, I cleaned the floor. Like in what universe is that cleaned the floor? You know, it was
Right.
just so funny. And my reaction,
Yeah.
the look on my face was probably like priceless.
Yeah.
And yet it's a nice family memory. You know,
Totally. Yeah.
other than me telling you, the internet does not really know about it. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can talk about it. It's funny, but like, it's not the same as like seeing it. The look on my face must have been like I
Yeah.
can imagine.
Yeah.
Right? But like, that's it. It stays there.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that those videos perform well? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. I think it's just voyeurism. I think we're all just fascinated in I mean, it's the way that we slow down to look at car crashes, you know? We just
Yeah.
can't help but like want to see when other people are in distress, especially I think when those people are part of a vulnerable population like children. You want to know, why is the kid crying? How is the parent going to get them to stop? What happened to them? Why are they hurt? Like, I think it is just human curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess there's also sickos who just really enjoy seeing kids in pain for whatever private enjoyment they derive from it that we won't speculate on.
Right.
Yeah, I think you had a quote about the pedophiles who are like, yay, they send us more content all the time.
Yeah.
How aware do you think momfluencers are of that dynamic?
I think they're pretty aware. I think it's probably, you know, the New York Times did a story that was totally harrowing in which they went into pedophile chat rooms and the people there were talking about, oh, you know, these mom influencers are, yeah, just constant content of their kids. I don't think maybe that the mom influencers think it's that bad. I think that's like pretty much more terrible than you would suspect. But I think in all these conversations that I had with these creators, with these parent creators, they did think about the possibility of predators. Like, it wasn't like they were like, that's not a risk or that's not something I'm worried about. Like, they are thinking about it. They're just making a different decision than other people are.
Is it like a slippery slope? Like, once you see that content performs well, you start posting it and you don't think as much about like the other like maybe like when you start out, you think you would never, but 2 years later you're posting that stuff?
I think, you know, I've thought about this a lot. I think that because of the digital nature of the predatory behavior, it's easier to excuse. I think, you know, it's not as though someone is coming up to your child in public and saying these sexually charged things to them. So you can kind of say like, oh, well, it's just on the internet. Or something that I hear from these creators, from these parent creators is, you know, there's creeps everywhere. What am I going to do? Like, I can't control everything. And so it's kind of like their defense is that like, yeah, that they can't control everything, to which I would say, well, you can't control everything, but you can control some things.
Like, so then you can't control anything. I mean, if we can't control everything, it doesn't mean you can't control anything.
Right. But, you know, I think the coming to terms with the fact that there are predators watching your child's content, I think that's incredibly psychologically damaging for these parents. And so they have to come up with these defenses, which is, we could be at the park and there could be a creep there. And like, what am I going to do? Never go to the park? Like that kind of thought process.
Right. Although I certainly wouldn't go to the park and like advertise. You know what I mean? Like,
right. No, I know.
That's just, it's
the
sort
logic
of like,
falls short.
Yeah, the logic falls short. I get it in the sense of like, yeah, somebody's gonna post something. I post on the internet, and I have weirdos who will sometimes like slide into my DMs or whatever, and like, I'm not intentionally posting anything that would attract their attention, but like, it's not like I stay off the internet because those weirdos exist, right? It's just like, that's what Block is for. But I'm also an adult. And also, if something that I posted was attracting the wrong kind of attention, I, as a consenting adult who can decide not to consent, can take that video down because I get the implications. I don't know that an 8-year-old does.
No, I mean, I don't think that they do.
Yeah, and that worries me. But then you were also talking about that other side of momfluencers who like this is their path to economic freedom, or how else can a single mom with no college education support a family of 5 without working 17 hours a day and living on, I don't know, Skippy peanut butter.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think especially in this really economically fraught moment that we're in this country, like it makes sense to me that people are looking around and they're taking stock of their options and they're thinking, let me give this a go.
Yeah. I guess the ones I feel the worst for are not the ones it's successful for. I think it's the one. So someone who's making life-changing money, as you put it in the book, right? About like, and it really is an income and they're able to, I don't know, send their kids to college off this money, is one thing because at least in some way they got something out of it and maybe they can afford the therapy to help their kid with it. Or, at some point, maybe the bigger they get, the more they can say, okay, those are things I'm not doing. But it's the people who like have some minor success, I think, that really worry me. You're making a couple of $100 a month and, it's a taste of success. It's not enough to change your life, but your kid breaks their leg and you're posting that on the internet instead of comforting your kid.
Totally. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I mean, there are a lot of people in between that, 100% successful and 0% successful.
Yeah. What do you think it does to the kids in terms of their developing psyche, like when it comes to like their personalities and who they're going to be as adults?
I think it's really hard to allow yourself to grow and change when people want to pigeonhole you as the same person that you were when they met you when you were 5 years old. I hear this from kid influencers. They don't want to let me grow up. The fans don't want to let me grow up. They still think of me as an 11-year-old or a 13-year-old. And I think one of the great freedoms of not living that way online is that you get to go through phases. You get to change your mind. Right. You get to say, oh, all of a sudden I really like this, or now I'm into this. And I think that level of attention can be really difficult, especially if it doesn't last, which like it doesn't always last. And I don't think, there are very few stars who are famous throughout their entire lives at the same level. Like it would be very hard to have that level of response and adoration and then to lose it.
Yeah. So you feel like then you go through your awkward stage, or then you become, I don't know, an anonymous 23-year-old. Yeah. And yeah, you're not so cute. No one's like, you're not like, dumping tricks all over your mom's kitchen floor when you're 23. That's just not cute, right? Yeah. And so you're not going to get that kind of attention.
Right.
And I guess we don't know yet because these kids are just coming of age, right? Like the first influencer kids are probably just hitting their 20s.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's only more information that's going to come out because this is a relatively new phenomenon.
Right. Right, that's true. Like it's a giant experiment on humans that we're living through and we have no idea.
No.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I remember, I'm curious what your take on this. I sometimes cover toy events for I'll write articles about the 10 best toys for your 5-year-old or things like that. So I'll go to toy trade shows and, sometimes influencer events. And I saw an influencer kid absolutely bully an adult. And I was watching this and I was thinking, what is gonna happen to this kid? So this was I feel like she was maybe 7.
Oh,
she
no.
looked about 5, but she was 7. And there was a toy company, and they had an intern there running their table. So they had the head guy who was in charge of all their product. And then they had an intern, and there were a whole bunch of toys. And she was giving her a sample packet, here's our new this doll, and here's our new that, and here's her accessory pack, and there was a cameraman filming, and then they stopped filming, and there was this other doll there, and it was a prototype. And the kid said, I want that one. And the intern said, oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a prototype. We can't give that out. Right? Yeah. So she's just doing what her boss said. And the intern is all of 20, 21.
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
know. She's a kid herself. Yeah. And the 7-year-old's well, if that's the case, if you're not going to give it to me, then I forgot, she was threatening her, we're not going to feature you and you need to give that to me. And the girl's I'd really like to. I can give you more of this one, but I'm not allowed to give you this one because she's a prototype and we're not actually giving her out.
Right.
And the kid was just making demands, and the dad was completely proud of her. He was yeah, that's my daughter. She's a little businesswoman. She's bullying an adult, and you're okay with it. And all the grown-ups are standing around watching a 21-year-old be reduced to tears by a 7-year-old mean girl. And dad is my daughter's a businesswoman. And I'm no, she's just a spoiled child.
Yeah.
I had such a strong reaction. And again, here I am, a psychologist. I'm supposed to be non-judgmental, but hey, above my pay grade, these people are not coming to me for help. This guy does not want help. He's happy with this. Wow. And but the cameraman stopped filming. I noticed that particular little interaction. Yeah. And then the boss of this intern was sort of yelling at her, you can't annoy the talent or whatever he was saying. He was and I'm looking at this poor girl and I'm thinking oh my gosh, she did what you said. You're the boss. You're telling her don't give out the prototype.
Yeah.
She's following your instructions, and then he's almost apologizing to the 7-year-old. Right, for the conduct of the 21-year-old who did what he said. And I'm watching this, and I actually tried to say something to the 21-year-old afterwards, but she was trying to get her self-control back, and I didn't want to break her down further. I feel one kind person would have lost it completely. I was I think you handled that well, and she didn't respond to me. You know what I mean? So I was okay, I'm not going further with this. I'm not a shrink here. Nobody asked me. I'm not here to be someone's therapist. I want to be an upstander. I feel so bad for you.
Yeah.
But I was appalled. I was there to find cute toys to feature for a gift guide and be these toys can help your kid with his anxiety. Look, this toy looks as though it's for this, but really you could use it if you have a sensory kid. This is a great way to help them. That's what I'm there to do, right?
Right.
But I'm watching this and I was I was appalled. Yeah. It's funny because I never really told that story to someone who knows this culture before.
Yeah,
so I'm just curious what you make of it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's rough. It's rough to hear, but I think, when you are a child who has that much power on the internet and you do have a platform that you can wield, it doesn't surprise me, if I had that kind of power as a 7-year-old, what would I have done,
Right. You're 7. You don't know what much.
Yeah.
Right. You're 7, you want the doll, but the way she was threatening her, we won't feature you on our platform. And we
it's so grown up.
That's it. Yeah, it was so grown up and sophisticated.
Yeah.
And you're 7, and also so unempathic, right?
Yeah.
There was no oh, I get that your boss doesn't let, maybe can you ask it? There was no thought, this is a human that I am interacting with, which normally I feel a parent, if my kid was acting in an unempathic way, and I'm not trying to make myself into the best parent of the world, but I would just be appalled as you can't grow up and ignore another human's pain. That's totally. Just not okay.
Yeah.
Right? And here the dad was completely oh, she's a little businesswoman. Look at her negotiating.
Oh, yeah. That just, yeah. I mean, it's not surprising. Like, it's not a surprising story to me.
You know, you're the first person that said it's not surprising. I tell this story to people, and people who don't know kid influencing culture at all, like older psychologists and be like
Sure.
colleagues of my life. I even had someone say that story never happened. You're making that up.
I mean,
And you're like,
no.
that happened. You're like,
Yeah,
I
no.
know, I can so picture a world where that happened.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, he's like, what do you mean? Like what? Like this psychologist who's like about 10 years older than me, not on the internet, was just like,
Yeah.
no, like that's one that never that's a outlier. I'm like, no, that's an influencer kid. I don't feel they're all
Right.
like that, and I'm
No,
not like
definitely
whatever,
not.
but like
Yeah.
dad set her up to be this way.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. No, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and then you gotta worry. I mean, you're not going to be an influencer. You're not going to be cute forever. You're not going to be 7
No.
with cute little braids in your hair.
No. No, and I think it's really difficult to grow out of that. You know, people don't want you to become an adult. You know, I don't know if you read Sherry Frankie's memoir, House
did.
of My Mother, but she writes about that people still see her as a preteen, and she's, I don't know, 24, 25, and she's married. You know, like she's an adult woman, and people still see her as, you know, this little girl who was shaving her legs for the first time on her mom's YouTube channel. Like, people don't want you to grow up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just unfair, right?
Yeah.
You're not a character, you're a person.
Right.
I feel like the Duggars more and like the TV shows that maybe I think, you know, that were around maybe when I was like a young adult, you kind of got the sense that they're characters on TV, that they're probably different in their real private lives.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like with even with like the Kardashians or any of like the famous TV families, you do get a sense of like that's a role they play on TV, but they're also people.
Right.
This is different.
Yeah, I think there's much less of a boundary for people. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're literally in her bedroom watching her shave her legs for the first time.
Yeah.
Or cry about her first crush.
It's very intimate. It's incredibly intimate. There were many times in the writing and research of this book that I was just like, I shouldn't be watching this. Like, this shouldn't be an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't there like, tell me if I'm hallucinating this, but where there was a real medical emergency and the mom was trying to get the dad's attention and he was still filming and she's like, you need to be calling 911.
Yeah, that was one of the examples that I had in my book, but she didn't tell him to put the phone down. So it was kind of interesting because she was like, you need to find my phone, you need to call 911. And I was thinking like, I'm assuming he's filming on a phone. So like, why not just put that phone? Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
It almost didn't dawn on them because the algorithm reshaped their brain to such an extent that putting the phone down would be like, okay, stop breathing for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, didn't, you know,
it doesn't make
I mean,
sense.
I know what algorithms do to us, right? Like I have that, like sometimes like, you know, something does really well, you know, and you're like, oh, I should do more of that.
Yeah.
You know, I could see how that pursuit, like that dopamine hit, like you forget if you're doing it with a child that like there's a child there.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think especially if there's such a financial incentive for you.
Yeah. I think even worse when there isn't such a financial incentive, but you're dreaming of one. I think that's the most...
That's a really fascinating point.
Yeah.
No one's made that point to me before.
Because I think you're hungrier then. I think that, you know, and you're trying and you're dreaming of it, and then it's like a dream you've been pursuing and you don't want to let go of it. So,
yeah,
you know, I could see forgetting about the kid in front of you. I can see how an algorithm would do that. Like, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's bleak.
Yeah. I was thinking about like in the book, and I love the way you ended it, like not to spoil it for people, but like, you know, you clearly have communication skills, you clearly have internet skills, you clearly understand like TikTok and Instagram culture. Like, I was thinking, well, why doesn't she become a momfluencer? Like she's a good communicator. Her kid's probably adorable, right? Like, and you really did end with like, no.
No, my husband jokes that the great villain arc would be me becoming a mom influencer in the end, which would be really funny. But yeah, I just can't. I mean, I feel very strongly about keeping my daughter, and I'm 9 months pregnant with our second daughter.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we're near the end here.
Good
and
luck.
I thank you. And I just can't. I feel very strongly about keeping them to ourselves and to our families. And I don't know if that's because, not that I have like a huge platform, but I do have tens of thousands of followers that I don't know. And I just feel so strongly that for what reason should they know my daughter? Like, they don't know her.
Yeah, and they shouldn't.
Right. No, I don't think so. I mean, not in my case. Like, it doesn't work for me. And I felt very strongly about this from the second I got pregnant for the first time. And I wasn't sure exactly how I would feel about it before. And then it just became very clear to me, like, this is not for me.
And your followers are following you. It doesn't seem like as though you're an influencer. It seems they're following you for your writing and for your, right? Like, for what you know, not for like sort of who you are. You know what I mean?
I don't think anyone like is like, I mean, I don't post like lifestyle things or like, things like that. So they are following me for information, which makes it easier for me to kind of have that, draw that line.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly had interesting, like it sort of messed with my head a little bit. I had someone who DM'd me and said, you post a lot of parenting content, but you never post your kids. If you don't post your kids, I'm gonna stop following you. I'm gonna tell a lot of people, because like, how can I trust a parenting influencer, which I don't consider myself a parenting influencer. I consider myself a psychologist who shares psychology on the internet. I think it's a different. I talk about parenting. I talk about child psychology, but I'm not a parenting influencer.
Right.
You're not gonna see me like, I don't know, whatever, making dinner or unboxing something from my home or some toys or whatever, unless it's like, here's how to use this toy to help your kid with his sensory you know what I mean? It's not what I'm going to post. And I said, like, I kind of think that's why you should trust me as a parenting thinker, right? Because I don't post my kids. But she got really demanding, like really, like in one video you see the back of one of my kids' heads, and she was like, oh, I saw the back of your kid's head, and it just really weirded me out. Like, why do you care?
People feel very I can't think of the word because I'm so pregnant, but they feel very like parents on the internet owe them. And it's very strange. Even now, with me not posting my kids, right? And like, maybe occasionally you'll hear one of my kids' voices in the background, or you'll see one of my kids' hands or something, or, the back of a kid's head or something. I'm still somewhat exposed, right? Like, I was in a pizza store with my kids, right? Like, just like being a mom with my kids, but my face is known. And somebody messaged me on Instagram, I was watching you like interact with your kids, and I was thinking this and I was thinking that, and like, because I follow you on Instagram and I read your book, and like, you're a parenting author, and it was like, wow, that was a level of exposure that I wasn't thinking of. Like, I'm like proud that I don't post my kids. I'm like, whatever. Like, she totally could have taken a picture of my kids and posted that. Like, it didn't occur. Like, that had never occurred to me. Yeah. I mean, I think there's only so much we can do, like, especially as public facing people. Like, and I think it's important not to get too caught up in like, trying to manage every single thing, but just to manage what you can, which in your case is not posting your kids online. But, like, people know you, and, if they see, like, I don't know, there's different levels. Yeah. I mean, I said something to somebody else. I was somewhere and someone wanted to talk to me about something on my Instagram, but I was like with my kids somewhere, and I was like, okay, so I'm in disguise now. Like, I'm incognito. I'm not Dr. Kozlowitz right now. Like, I'm a mom here, like with my kids, Like, I had to set that boundary, because I get it. Like, you have a parasocial relationship with me, and you want to ask me a question, and here we are at the same, like, indoor playground, and like, I get it. But then at the same token, I felt very compelled to set the boundary of like, I'm not actually Dr. Kozlowitz today. I'm just another mom watching her kids. And that's fair. Yeah, but I think I felt bad, because I think I hurt her feelings more than I intended to. You know what I mean? Like,
Which I totally get. If I would be, I don't know, if I like was be sitting on a plane with like Lori Gottlieb or somebody like who I look up to and I follow, and I would have the opportunity to like say hi to her, I would also feel a little, like
same. Yeah, I would be taken aback, but also, you have to have your own boundaries.
Yeah, it's true. I guess I'm making that same decision that those momfluencers are, where they're like, well, there's creeps everywhere. I'm like, I didn't say, oh, right, that's it. I'm getting off the internet completely and scrubbing my online presence,
Right.
And in these stories, they were creeps. Like, this wasn't creepy. It was mildly invasive. But it's the same, like, but the risk of, like, that person taking a picture of my kids and posting it, that could have happened.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And I guess, we all have to grapple with this thing that there has been there's been no, like, history. It's not like we could be like, well, during the Great Depression, what they did was this. And,
Yeah, no, like, it's kind of uncharted territory.
Yeah, that like is always changing because the technology is always changing. So like we don't even know what like the next iteration of this is going to be.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So wow. So you're still like doing all of this stuff and promoting a book while pregnant with your second kid.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
I believe you. I did graduate school constantly pregnant, and that was many years ago. And like.
I can't imagine. It's so brutal. I cannot wait to not be pregnant anymore.
Yeah. The problem with not being pregnant anymore is then there's a baby who's up all night. Like I remember like, when you're at the end of your 9th month and you're like, I can't wait for the baby to be born so I can sleep. And you're like, yeah, no.
No, I do feel though like last time I felt much more myself postpartum than I did pregnant. Like I was obviously exhausted and like hormonal, but like I felt capable in a way that I don't really feel when I'm pregnant. Like I have really difficult pregnancies, and so I don't really feel like myself at all. And so postpartum, I'm like, okay, I'm tired, but I'm like a capable adult woman.
Yeah, you feel like yourself again. You start like returning to yourself. It's like I think at some point in the like, real future when like I don't know the technology will exist to like fix all these problems, they're gonna look at the moms of our generation and be like, you did what while pregnant? Like,
I know I'm not a person who is like good at being pregnant. I am very grateful that I'm able to be pregnant and have healthy babies. I do not enjoy being pregnant at all.
Yeah, I feel like anybody who is good at being pregnant, I feel like is probably lying to you.
Yeah.
It's probably like, I don't know, Ballerina Farms pretending
they're
that,
selling
like,
you something.
She doesn't have an army of maids like somewhere keeping that house pristine. You know what I mean? Like, the person on the internet who's like, the only thing I ever craved during my pregnancy is like hand-grown lettuce that I planted myself. And it's like,
oh my God.
Glad, happy for you. You're either lying or delusional, but sure. I cannot relate. Yeah.
No.
But there probably is a unicorn somewhere in the world who indeed like
somewhere
only craved lettuce and loved being pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, or even just, I mean, for me, I dislike it so deeply that it's even hard for me to understand people who like don't mind it. Like my sisters and my mom were like, I was like, it's fine. It's being pregnant is fine. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like it's so rough. I find it to be so difficult.
Yeah. But it sounds like you're not having that brain fog thing because you can write.
I think there are better hours in the day for me. So I know, and I've always been like this generally, that I function best from like 6 a.m. to like 1 p.m. Like those are my like golden hours of like working and thinking and like ideating. And then in the afternoon, I feel like I'm completely useless. And that's been true since before I was pregnant, and especially now that I'm pregnant. So that's why I try to stack everything in the morning, and then the afternoons are just kind of like I turn my brain off. I hang out with my toddler. We color, like we just hang out.
I'm jealous because I'm the opposite, and it's really not great for like when you have to get kids on school buses because like I work really well at night. And then you have to wake up in the morning and get people on school buses. And like that for me,
brutal.
Like my ideal schedule is like, 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. writing.
I cannot imagine. If you made me write at that time, I think I'd come out with like 2 paragraphs and nothing would be salvageable. Like I cannot think well in the evening.
I tried so hard to join the 5 a.m. club. When I was writing my book, I was like, I'm going to wake up every morning. I really tried it. And I did all the things with like adjusting your bedtime slightly. And I'm taking an ice bath to be able to fall asleep. I mean, I tried unhinged things. Yeah. I'm not smart at 5 a.m. I'm just not smart at 5 a.m.
I think people are either night owls or not. And like for me, I can't stay up late. Like staying up late to me is like 10 p.m. Like 10 p.m. is like crazy late to me. And like I wake up early and that's just how I am, but it's just natural, you know? So I think forcing yourself to do it, it would be like me forcing myself to do your schedule. I would be useless.
Yeah. Yeah, I learned after a while. And that's like, I think like when I was like going down the rabbit hole of like all these health influencers and everything they say sounds so smart and plausible and I'm going to try it. No, I'm not, you know, or then you look at people, you start feeling bad, but it's like, then you think, wait a minute, like, does this gentleman have my lifestyle? Has he ever been pregnant? Has he ever, like, woken up at 2 in the morning with a toddler? Like no. So, like, yeah, it's great that everyone who doesn't wake up at 5 a.m. is lazy. But you know what? How many times are you waking up in the middle of the night with somebody who, like, you know, wet their bed? Just curious.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. You can't compare yourself, especially to a man, you know?
Yeah, so curious as we wrap up, what's like next for you? Like this book was great, and like I know the post-traumatic parenting community, so many of us read it from that perspective of in other ways feeling objectified in childhood or not seen in childhood or, you know, harmed by early life experiences. So I think that's why it struck such a note. You know, and I know that everyone's going to love this episode because like your book was a topic of conversation. You know, because you really did such a good job of presenting all sides of the issue. You didn't just clutch your pearls. You explained why someone might do it. You know, it did sound like some people had good outcomes. Like some people really did have life-changing money and a more balanced approach to all of this.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
I mean, I am just open to what comes next. You know, I think I'm not going to leave the influencer world. I'm going to always keep an eye on that and see what's coming next because it changes all the time. And I am interested in trying to find a line for myself about being able to write about motherhood without exposing my children in ways that I don't want them to be exposed. That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out now because I benefit so deeply from the writing of other mothers, and I want to be able to join that, but I want to be able to keep my kids separate. And so I'm having this kind of trying to figure out the tightrope.
Yeah, it's, you know, Faber and Maislich did a really good job in How to Talk So Kids Will Listen, where they were like, between us, we have like 7 kids. So we're going to create an 11-year-old boy named Johnny and a, 13-year-old girl named Carol and an 8-year-old named whatever. And then you're never going to know, it was one of our kids, but you're never going to know who was Johnny and who was Carol, you know? Yeah, I'm lucky that I have a couple of kids, so I can also sort of do that. I can be like,
that's the thing. I'm going to have 2, so I can't like, mix them up like that. But yeah, I think, you know, I just want to write about my experience and not their lives, you know, but it's a balancing act and I'm trying to figure it out.
I love that distinction, my experience and not their lives. That's a really good distinction.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Like your experience is their lives, but it isn't, right? Like,
no,
you know, that's so cool. That's such food for thought. Like, you know, because it's true. Where does my experience end and their lives begin? That's really interesting. I think for anybody who wants to write about motherhood, I think it's a really interesting distinction.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks so much for doing this. I cannot wait for everyone to see the episode, and you know, and anyone who hasn't read the book yet should, or listen to it. And I love that you narrated it yourself, by the way.
Yeah, I had so much fun.
Yeah, I know. I did the same thing. I feel like it's so much more fun to listen to a book narrated by the author because you know what they meant to say.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, I had fun. I was so intimidated by the thought of it, but it was really not scary.
Yeah.
Mildly exhausting, but not scary.
Oh, yeah. I know. I was like, I couldn't believe how tired I was just from like talking.
Yeah.
But it's like acting too, almost.
Yeah. You're like projecting yourself into the void. Yeah. It was a lot. So really appreciate it. And I'm going to let you know. And where can like members of the post-traumatic parenting community find you?
Yeah, anywhere online at Hi Fortesa, HIFORTESA. I am everywhere.
All right, so everybody check her out and check out, like, her writing is really, like, nuanced and thoughtful about this really confusing topic that we're, like, experiment that we're living through.
Thank you.
I'm here on social media to be descriptive, not prescriptive. I'm here to educate, inform, and hopefully entertain, but never to treat. If listening to this podcast helps you realize that you need therapy, I am all for that. But podcasts aren't therapy. Please reach out to a mental health professional licensed in your jurisdiction. You'll be glad you did. Wish post-traumatic parenting was a talk show, not a podcast? You have a question for me or for my guests? Great news. You can ask those questions by following me on Instagram. My handle is @DrKoslowitz It's also in the show notes. I love it when people reach out, DM, or post a question. Who knows, your question might spark an entire episode. Come join our community. We get it. We're post-traumatic parents too. Can't wait to hear from you.